Hi, I'm Jolynn, and this is Compass Rose Adventures. So why the name Compass Rose Adventures? Because of this necklace that my husband bought for me in Blarney in Ireland back in 2004. I've worn it every day ever since. It's sort of my symbol. So it kind of represents my whole family and travel and everything. But it's also a nautical term. I mean, nautical in the sense that this used to be on maps. So it's less Celtic and more sailor going off to see the world. So there you go. That's where the name comes from. So who am I? I am a widow. Yeah, that sucks. Still sucks. My husband died in late 2017, way too young, from cancer, so you don't need to be curious about that. 3 months later, my mom died. Yeah, took out my whole foundation. So I decided I was going to take a sabbatical from teaching, sort of grieve properly, and found that I liked not grading English papers so very much that I took a second year off. And I was pursuing the two things that I always wanted to pursue when I was retired, and that was writing and travel. And yeah, wrote a novel. That was incredible. That was a process that I went through, sort of a grief counseling almost. Strange, but anyway, I wrote this book. And I also bought an RV and started traveling. Now, I have two beautiful daughters, and my husband and I used to take them off every summer because we were teachers. We had summers off. And we would go to Europe. We went there 5 different times. We rented an RV and we just tooled all over. And that was incredible. That was such a great life. Loved it. Loved every minute of it. And then they grew up. They did not have permission to do that, but they did anyway, darn it. And, you know, they're married. They have kids of their own. Love that. Love that they are wonderful daughters and great human beings. But it left me alone. Yeah, a total empty nester and a widow to boot. Yeah, so what are you gonna do? And I was really faced with that decision of, do I sit here and just kind of wait to die? Because it's really sad to travel alone, you know, I mean, without my family. And I thought, well, I could do that, or I could just put on my big girl panties and get up and go. And so that's what I did. Bought the RV back in 2019 and started my first solo travel adventure. And it was terrifying, really terrifying at first, because I didn't know what I was doing. Because when we rented an RV in Europe, Steve did everything, you know, the driving, the cassette toilet, all the heavy lifting stuff. And I was the navigator. And then suddenly I had to do everything. So it was a little scary, but it was also incredibly empowering and exhilarating to a certain degree. When you do things alone, there is a sense of accomplishment, of I don't know, this sense of total control over your life. And since so much of my life was out of control, losing people and grieving, that I thought, yeah, this I can do. So I went to the Canadian Rockies and it was spectacular. And standing on Lake Moraine and seeing that view, that told me that I could not only travel alone, you know, the logistics of it, the physicality of it, but that I could find joy in it. Real joy, real exhilaration. So I thought, yeah, this is it. This is what I want to do. So I took that second year off, sabbatical. You know, I wasn't sure I was going to remain retired. Because, you know, teachers take sabbaticals to recharge. And then COVID hit. And, you know, the world went topsy-turvy. And so I decided not to go back into teaching. I decided to continue my life doing all those things I said I wanted to do when I became retired. So that's where I am. And in my research, I discovered YouTube and all these people who were documenting their travels. And I thought, oh, that looks like fun. So about a year and a half ago, I thought this would be great. Yeah, what you don't know. Anyway, the point behind this channel is, let me give you an example, or an analogy rather. Back in the 80s, scrapbooking was not a thing. And this company called Shoebox to Showcase came out of the woods, and really they created the phenomenon. They're called Creative Memories now. And I got involved with this because their whole concept was to take that shoebox filled with photographs and get them into a form that people would want to look at, that you would want to look at, documenting, journaling, not just putting, pretty cutesy stuff with it, but really explaining what's going on, so that when you look back on your life, you preserve these memories in a really tangible and comprehensive form. So the idea behind doing a YouTube channel is kind of the same thing. This allows me to narrate what is happening. And let me just tell you, this is horrifying to me, to be in front of a camera like this. Like, I am not of the selfie generation. I like being behind the camera, taking pictures of my family. So I have to get out of my comfort zone to do this, because we all are hypercritical of ourselves, I think, to some degree, and me even more so, because I just don't like being in front of a camera. But I'm going to do it anyway for that reason, to preserve these memories. For myself, when I'm an old lady sitting in a nursing home or in, my house, just huddled on my couch, I'll be able to watch these and say, yeah, at one time in my life, I was a badass grandma who just packed her bags and went off and explored the world. And fingers crossed, my grandkids might be curious about who I was, right now. And here's something they can look at and say, oh yeah, that was my grandma. Because of course they only know me as, they'll know me as an old lady. So, that's the fingers crossed fantasy of it. And friends and family right now, present time, can follow the journey if they want. Hey, thanks for being here if you're here. Appreciate the support. And if you're a stranger, I'm going to say that I watch a lot of YouTube people documenting their lives, couples and solo travelers, and I am comforted by their journey. Sometimes a house can get very, very quiet. It's nice to have human beings along there with you. Real people, not TV shows, but real people. So YouTube has been a comfort to me, and a source of information, a lot of great information. So I don't know if this will help any stranger. I don't know if anybody will even ever watch it. It's not the point of it. It would be icing on the cake. So if this helps you, if you don't know me and this helps at all, yay, I'm happy for that. So this is going to be mostly just my travels, maybe some other type of videos. I'm going to try to give not so much a travelogue, like Rick Steves has that covered. I love the guy. He's the one to watch for, factual information and, where to stay in hotels. That's not what this is. This is just me doing my thing and documenting it. So that's who I am. I'm a widow. I'm a writer. I'm a wayward soul. I am itching to see the world, and come on along. Love to have you.